Hi, everyone. We're live with our teacher leader cohort. We're so excited to be talking today about assessment. Today, we have a special guest all the way from Australia. So I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Kelly Moore, and I am all the way from Melbourne in Victoria in Australia. And I'm really happy to be here today. So I'll just give you a little bit about my background. So I have been teaching for 14 years, and I have been working in leadership in education for that long as well. And currently I work around multiple schools, just helping them to become more digital in their practices and approaches to learning and teaching. And I also am a graduate from the teacher leader cohort. I think in 2016 I was trying to work out, and I think it's a fabulous course. So it's great that you guys have all engaged into this type of learning, and it's really good way to get to learn other things that are out there that you might not have known about previously. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Kelly. We love that you've already gone through this. So you have experienced all of these courses firsthand.
Yeah.
We love that today you're going to be sharing some of your expertise on assessment and a bunch of different tools that teachers can use. I just want to remind anyone who's watching, please use our EdTech Team Online hashtag on Twitter. Or if you're watching live, feel free to jump in that YouTube chat. We're going to have a time for questions at the end. And Tracy is with me in the back channel, so Tracy and I will be keeping an eye on that. But Kelly, as we get started today, we'd love just to hear a little bit about your experience using assessment and maybe some digital assessment tools in the classroom.
Yeah, so really with my experience in assessment, I use it every day with students in digital assessment, especially trying to capture data. I think it's a really great way to be able to get data and analyze it in real time, so you can actually see where the kids are at, where they need to go, what you might do for the next lesson, rather than waiting till the end of a unit to see where they're at and plan from there. I think having that ongoing formative type of assessment is much more effective in regards to moving forward. I'm going to show you some tools. I'm going to jump into this presentation because I'm going to show you some tools. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so I'm just going to share this. And I'm going to, Dominic, can you see my screen there?
Yep, we can see it.
Great. Okay, so I'll just show you, I also recently became a Google Innovator, but I haven't actually updated my badges here, but I'm also a Google Trainer and Google Innovator. But I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about, I know that when I did the cohort, these questions, and I use these all the time when I'm talking to teachers about assessment, because I think these questions are really relevant. And I did grab these from the cohort that when I did this this course around leading teachers, and I think they create some deep thinking for teachers around how they might use assessment with students. So what do you want our students to learn? How will we know if our students have learned what they need to know? How will we respond if some students have not learned it? And how will we respond if the students already know it? And I think something that we use a lot in Melbourne around schools is assessment criteria. So we want to know success criteria, and we want to know their learning intentions. So what will they know by the end of this lesson, and how will the student know that they've been successful? And looking at those things can actually help a student be able to articulate if they've been successful and how, and if they haven't, how can they be successful next time? So really great questions. Some tools to be able to capture some of those ideas. If you haven't seen Answer Garden is a really great tool to use. You can set it up. It's free to set up, and you can use one word. You can say one word. You can say up to 20 characters or 40 characters. And what happens is when the students put in their feedback to you, you can actually grab a word, like a word cloud here, and as they put in the same things, the words get bigger, and it can tell you even how many people have put that in. And it creates a bit of a feedback so you can use this for me. I've seen teachers use this for lots of different things. I've even seen teachers use this for collecting spelling words. So, if they're looking at the sh sound, what words can you think that have a sh sound? And they might collect just even data around that. But it's a bit of a snapshot for your class more than anything. So that's Answer Garden, and I'm going to go through these pretty quickly so that we can get through them all. But ultimately, when we are looking at assessment, we want to achieve what do we want to do? We want our students to improve our student outcomes. That's the ultimate goal. Helping them to get better. So that they in their learning, so that they can achieve more in their future. So something that might help them to do that is by the students setting SMART goals. And I sometimes put these into just a slide deck, this template, and then just duplicate it all so that every child is in the same slide deck. We are collaborative, making SMART goals, and they can go back and look at each other's and help each other along the way when it's all in the same slide deck. And SMART goals is really, it's something that I think is still developing, and it's used a lot in the business corporate world, but I think it's something that can be used in education a lot. Making what we want to do really specific, how we're going to measure and know that we've accomplished that. And we need to make it achievable. There's no point in putting something out there as a goal that we're never going to be able to achieve. So making it achievable, relevant to what we want to do, and timely. So we don't want something that a SMART goal is not something we set for like a long period of time. We want, you might have something that's for a long period of time, but you want short ones in between to get to that ultimate goal to achieve it. If you haven't jumped into Pear Deck before, Pear Deck's a really good one to use as well. Pear Deck integrates with your Google Suite, so you can actually import your slides from there that you can create. When you go into Pear Deck, you can actually it might take a minute to load. I had it loaded and then now it's not loaded anymore. You can get onto the slides and you can make them interactive. So when I actually put a slide in, I can make it have a different type of response. This is how the students see it over here, and they can pop it in, and then you can be collecting that data, and you'll know who's put that data in as well. And you've got multiple choice here. So these ones are the free things you can add in. You can create your slides in Pear Deck, or you can actually just import them like I've done with this one. So what is an algorithm? I can even add an image or even a YouTube clip here, and then put a question for that and have the students answer it on their screens. So I push this out to students using the presenting mode. So that's a really good one to use as well. And it's all about seeing where the students are at. So this one is called Plickers, and Plickers was introduced to me when I did this course, and I use it all the time. The students basically can see they get a code, looks like a QR code, and the teacher creates a question and pushes it out, and they scan the room, and as they scan the room, the code actually comes up onto their phone and counts. And so one of the things that and you can get a little, when you actually do, you can go into question history and have a look and see what sort of things people have answered. I use this a lot for even parent nights to get information from parents, but one thing I've used it with recently is around cyber safety, and just to check in to see where the kids are at around that. And then I'm able to actually grab the data and show the parents. And I've done this anonymously, but you can assign the cards to students so that they are getting specific they have a specific card. And once you export the data into a sheet, you can use that great Explore tool if you haven't seen it already. And let's just say we want to get data on this one, this column here, and it will actually go down and it gives me my analysis. And so I can now grab a bit of a snapshot on this question and where the students are sitting in regards to it. And I can actually drag that into my sheet and use it as an analysis for a little bit more with my school. So I think that's a really good tool to use as well. And I do use that probably the most out of everything. If you're not familiar with Google Forms, the template set gallery, really good one to go to. If you slide down to the bottom, there's an education section, and this exit ticket one is a little bit of a goodie to use. So if you just want to grab some info around where the kids are at, what they're doing, you might use this. So you can just make a copy of it, or you can use it straight from here, or you can make a copy of it, or you can add extra questions in, or rearrange the questions, or change the wording in the questions to suit your students' context. But that's a really great one to use, the exit ticket. And I've used that before as well. And I actually know a lot of teachers use this one, and you can get your responses and view it again, download it as a spreadsheet, and you can view it, those responses in graphs as well. They will come up in graphs here as well, but you can then save them. So that's another one that's really good. I know I keep saying these are all really good, but they really are. If you haven't used Kahoots before, really good little check-in. So Kahoots, you can use the public gallery. There's lots in here. So let's just say I was looking at the story Matilda. I can actually type that in there, and I can see all these little ones that have been made by teachers before me have made these. But what you can do is you can actually create your own. And so you can create a quiz of some sort. So, and this is basically how it looks. So these are the questions. If they had a picture for the question, it would be here. And you can play it, and the students log in with a code, and then you push the questions to them. Again, a really great way to collect where the students are at. You could use this at any time in a unit. I like this one. You can use it for the end of unit as a more summative assessment, or you can use it during the unit as a formative assessment. So you can sort of think about the point of need and what that need is to when you would use it. Edpuzzle is another really good one. So Edpuzzle links straight into Google Classroom. So if you're a Google Classroom user, you can import all your users into Edpuzzle, and then it just makes sort of a bit of a mark book behind your whatever you're doing, and you can track where the students are at. So I like apps where you can track where students are at. So that helps you to know their point of learning and what they might need some more help with before they go on to the next part. So you can add this to your Google Classroom, but basically what this is, and if I'm just going to search here, and I'm actually just going to search, and here you can use, it actually links in with all different, you can see YouTube, Khan Academy, links in with all different types of videos there. And I'm actually going to just put in here Hector's World, which is a cyber safety. It's a group of videos that's used widely in Australia by primary schools to teach cyber safety to younger students. And I'm just going to grab this one here and just to show you what it does. So you can add in questions along the way. So a really great way to so if I click on here, it'll tell me what these questions are. Now I can edit these because this is somebody else's that has happily shared it in the public area. So I can edit these. I can add voice into here. I can add audio notes, so voice questions, audio notes, and then here I've got questions as well. So really another great way to collect evidence of student learning. And I like that it links in with Google Classroom, makes things easy when things integrate really well. ThingLink is another tool that I've used before. And I've used this to see where kids are at. This is actually one that I created. How is your reading? How is your reading goal going? And so, sorry, just go back to that. So this one here, so students can actually put in a dot to where they think they are in the tree, and then they can put a comment. So you can see some, because this one's I've used with teachers, so some are just blank. They've just had a bit of a go at seeing, but they basically just edit and they just pop their dot somewhere and then they write their note here. But you can use this for many, many different areas. And this is a great presenting tool as well. So students can use this to pop a picture up that maybe they've created, and then they might make it a little bit more interactive, but you can put hyperlinks into here. So you can when they click on the button, they can go to a hyperlink that might be to help them learn about something. So it's a really great learning classroom tool, not just an assessment tool. It can be used in many, many different ways. Now, if you haven't seen Insert Learning, it used to be called, I think you say docent or docent, but it's now called Insert Learning. And this one you get a certain amount for free, and then you do have to purchase it. So you can go into a website. So I've just got this one about biology for kids. It's hearing and the ear, and it's an extension here, and I can press that, and I can go down here and see I've got this little toolbar here has come up, and I think it's mute that. So I can highlight text that I want to highlight here and add a comment, and so that will pop up for the students. I can now, we've got this new feature, I can change the color of the text. You never used to be able to do that. I can actually add a sticky note somewhere. So if I want to do a sticky note here, and then I might even go to YouTube and look at something about how students, or how the ear works. Let's just go that one. And I can grab this link here. And I grab the sharing link and I go back here, and I can pop that in there, and it comes up here and the students will see that. So it's just something else to support the learning here. And what you can do then to make it an assessment tool is, I did this I can take this one out. I actually put an extra one in. I've got a question, why do we get dizzy? And so the students can answer this, and I can even put other questions in throughout this. Students can answer this, and this is another website where you can go into, and it tracks where the kids are at, and it tracks the answers to the questions that they've given you. And I have found that to be really helpful when I'm working with a group of students and I've got another group of students doing a comprehension activity, and I can now make my own comprehension activity with whatever the topic is that I'm doing with my students. So let's just say it's about science. I might have some different websites up, and I might have used this, given it to the students while I'm working with another group of students. And then I can check in on those other students to see how they went with that activity, to be able to help me understand further learning for those students. So I don't have to necessarily be there all the time with them. And that's how I've really used this, is a way for students to engage in learning in a different way, especially with comprehension. When I started teaching, it was really just a comprehension sheet. So, and reading a book and then doing a comprehension sheet. So this is just creating another interactive way to use that, which I really, really like. If you're a lower primary school teacher, this is a really great one. One of my friends actually developed this, and you basically use these monsters. Use the arrow keys on your keyboard. The kids can do this. They click on the monster and they use the arrow key to move the monster to which column they think that they have done for whatever the criteria is. So it's like a rubric, and the kids can actually move it across themselves. But you can do this, use this even in a what we call prep. So our four to 6 year old learning here, they would be able to do this. So it just gives them another way for the teachers to use assessment with Lidleys, with making it a bit more digital. If you haven't used screencasting before with kids, great way for kids to be able to critique their own learning and use peer-to-peer assessment, so they can either use WeVideo or Screencastify. It actually doesn't really matter what product you use here, just as long as it's something that they can be recording themselves. So it doesn't even have to be either of these two. You might find another one. I found these two the best for this type of scenario, where they might be recording themselves reading, and then they might look back on it and create some goals for themselves around what they noticed about their own reading. They may even get a peer to watch them reading from their screen and get their peer to give them some feedback. So it's just another option, another way of getting students to create goals and acknowledge where they are at in their own learning, as well as the teacher being able to see that and monitor that as well. I'm just going to show this last one. So this is Jozu. If you haven't seen Jozu's been around for a little while now, but it's been revamped last year. And it's basically a way you can create rubrics within it and then use that, push that out through your Google Classroom. Your students can then access those rubrics and be working towards them. You would mark on the rubric. Again, it gives you a bit of a back end so you can see where kids are at. It also has a great little feedback for writing when students are writing as well. And you can look at here, if you're not sure, you can find local experts in your area. So you might be able to contact somebody to help you with this product. It is growing across the world, really, and it is a great. I find it really good for rubric. If you really like to use rubrics, it's a really good one to tap into as well. So I'm just going to go back to not sharing my screen. There we go. So
wow.
yeah,
that's awesome.
There was a lot. But, you just take one thing and you move with it. And then when you've got that down packed, you grab the next thing, and you just never know when you go, oh, actually I remember seeing that before and I'm going to use that now. So yeah, that's how I've worked anyway.
I loved just all the different tools you shared. There's such a variety, and I'm sure some are going to still be new to our cohort. So thank you so much for just, showing us so many practical ways to use the tools too, not just showing us the tools. I specifically loved how you're including parents in some of this assessment. I think that's crucial, and it's something we don't talk about very often when we think of assessment anyways.
Yeah, yes. And I'm starting to also use, I didn't show it, but I'm also starting to use Seesaw, and Seesaw does have that parent interaction as well. So that allows for the parents and students to have that three-way conversation around the learning. And we know that when parents are involved in students' learning, then the students are more engaged and their outcomes are better, are more improved. So more we can create those atmospheres and environments within the students' learning, the better it will be.
Yeah, everyone working together for sure.
Yes.
Tracy, did we have any questions?
No, I was thinking about that too. I've never ever thought about using plickers at an open house night. What a great way to do it. It's easy for the parents. They just hold it up and you can get that quick little answer from them, because sometimes they're overwhelmed or you don't have time to have them log into something to answer a few questions. Yeah. Great feedback for you. You could ask them a couple questions about how the year is going for their child, and that would be very cool. I also, this is so silly, but I always forget to go to the templates and forms. I feel like and I go to a new form and I don't even think about that. And I was like, that's brilliant. Save time. What we always want to do. Those templates are there. Make sure that you go and use them. So thanks for reminding me about that, because I haven't done that for a little while. Go use
Good.
them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So many really, really great tools that people, as you said, choose one. And if you don't know how to use it, you go and search YouTube, and everybody has their own great YouTube channel that has tons of tutorials on exactly how you can get started with that tool.
Yeah.
So.
And I love to see your name and your face on the Joe Zoo site. So if we need to go to.
Yeah, it is. I do help to support them in their, you know, what they're doing with their, because I think it is a really good tool, and it's free, and it's anything that's free. I think that's awesome. I'll be on board. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I don't know if you have one last thing you'd want to tell our teacher leaders about assessment, or one other thing before we go.
Just take your time to learn what you want to learn. Don't rush in, because you might just start to use something and then you might not see its full potential. So actually take your time and see what the product's full potential is, and see if it's right for what you want. Don't just use a product for the sake of being digital. Use it, find the purpose, and then find what is going to suit that purpose.
Yes, very wise words for all of us. Thank you so much, Sally. We really appreciate we appreciate having you today with our assessment course of the Teacher Leader Cohort. So we'll see everyone online soon.
See you later.